Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for yet another Chelsea. Oh, please do excuse the background noise. That is not supposed to be the case. Let me just turn that off. I do apologize. But welcome back to another live reaction and player ratings live stream following a Chelsea 1-1 at Stamford Bridge. As if we hadn't had enough of those, we needed another one. I am so happy. I am so excited. Everything is so fucking brilliant. Let's have a party because we finished third. We secured that. Fucking brilliant. Oh, wait. We're not Arsenal. We're not happy about coming third. Yeah, I'm depressed. I can't be bothered to watch this team play football anymore. Half the players need to go, like yesterday, and I just can't be bothered. If I'm honest, I just can't be bothered. Like, what is this team selection? What we really needed to get all the first team in. We really needed a double pivot of Jorginho and Kante to get a point against Leicester, did we? And yeah. Those youngsters on the bench instead of Barkley and Kennedy and Sol, yeah, that would have been a really big problem had we had those youngsters on the bench. Oh, my days. We would have died. We would have lost 17,000-0 had we had those youngsters on the bench. Fucking brilliant. All right, and subs. 74th minute, what was it? 72nd minute? Brilliant. Yep. We weren't chasing a game. Not at all. Mate, I cannot be bothered. Cannot be bothered. Half this team needs to go. Why is this? Do we need to do a PSG and give some player like all the power here? Because seemingly nobody else has a clue what they're doing other than Reece James. Everybody else just clueless. Like, what is this? Ziyech might try and work hard and run about a lot, but as soon as he had the ball, shit every time. Okay, one good shot, one good cross. That's it, though. And a decent pass for Havertz, I will say. His effort was there from barely anybody else, but his effort was there. Fair enough. Fair enough. Pulisic, miss of the season. I mean, to be fair, at least it came at a point where it didn't matter. I'd rather he had this bad of a miss today than against Liverpool. Unfortunately, he had two bad misses against Liverpool as well. So what difference does it make, really? Lukaku, I mean, he had the ball literally one-on-one with the goalkeeper. He's a £100 million striker, and he did nothing. Brilliant. I mean, I don't even know what to say anymore. See, one advantage that people that turn up here with cameras have is that they're always in my eye more. So I will start with you, Aaron. A new guest. You guys might actually know from the chat. We ran into each other at the Torch, the pub, before the FA Cup final. And as you know, I'm a bit picky with who I have on the channel. But as soon as I talk to people, I realize they're not weirdos. I happily have them on. That's why Aaron is here. So Aaron, thank you for being here. As always, I say this the first time. But it will be always at one point. But anyway, we just said it before we went live. It's just a shit show, man. I cannot be bothered.
No, man, that was such a shambles. Like, I sat there after Saturday watching that final at Wembley, and I thought, okay, we might get a reaction or something out of them today. We don't have much to play for, but you don't want to go out there and just perform well for the fans after a final loss. But no, we were obviously mistaken because that was just a sack of shit from a lot of them, to be fair. There was only a few that had an adequate performance level, should we say, but the rest of them were a bag of shit. It was horrendous.
They really were. And yeah, a lot of people will make the excuse, and it's a somewhat reasonable excuse, that obviously Leicester sat so deep that it would be difficult to break them down. Yeah, it's true. But how did that happen? Oh, yeah, because we gifted another opposition another easy goal. If they never go 1-0 up, they probably never sit that deep other than until late in the game where they just want to see out a potential 0-0 then or whatever the result is, right? If you don't give them that goal, they don't sip that deep from the 5th minute or whenever they scored. Makes everything easier. So, moral of the story, don't give oppositions easy goals all the time. Con, I haven't spoken to you in a hot minute. I'm very grateful that you're back. I hope you're okay, other than what Chelsea do to us. But what's your reactions to that? I mean, can you even be bothered? I cannot be bothered, but clearly I can, because otherwise I wouldn't be so annoyed.
It's just our season, isn't it, mate? It's the same crap. They had 2 shots today, Leicester. You know, 2 shots. 2 shots and we draw 1-1, bro. I'm so tired of this attack, bro. I'm bored of them. I'm bored of them all. I really am. They annoy the hell out of me. They really do. Like, how Pulisic misses that chance, I don't know. Lukaku again. Like, anyone who's saying Lukaku redemption, you're an idiot. I just put it out there. After his little performance against Leeds, oh, Lukaku redemption. No, he's just not good enough. Allow it, man. I don't want to see him here next season. I don't want to see certain other players here next season, bro. I'm just happy this crap is ending. Bro, I just can't be asked. Can't be asked, man.
Same. I mean, obviously, we won't quite go into all that much detail on that very topic today about who we want to go and whatever, because I need content for when the season's done, right? So I can't just shoot all my ammunition on the post-match stream. So we'll be doing that next week. But at this point, man, Clutch, obviously the title is Pulisic Miss of the Season. You might slightly disagree with that, which is fair enough. But it can't be a good day for you, because I'm sure you're equally as annoyed with him, maybe even more, that he keeps missing these chances, because like we just can't do that. And I'm not even out to just slate Pulisic as an individual. He just happened to have the worst miss, but it just can't keep going like this.
No, you're for sure right. I mean, that was really bad. It's actually one of the worst misses I've seen all season. You are correct. That is really bad. But, you know, it's the story of the season. I don't know. We can't finish. And unlike against Liverpool, I thought, where Pulisic was doing all the right things in the first place and then his finishing was off. He had a couple good moments here or there, but then it was just like he wasn't really doing much after that. Like, it just seemed like he wasn't in the game. So, I mean, which is frustrating, because as highly as people in this chat, they will say, yeah, you're a Chelsea, or you're a Pulisic fan, not a Chelsea fan, whatever. I mean, you can say that. I don't care. That is your prerogative to say that. I do have a belief in that kid. And I mean, I know Laurenz and Con probably read the private chat where me and Pius were going back and forth yesterday about it. And I kind of described why I believe in the guy so much. But, I mean, it's just not good enough from him today. I mean, you're a guy who's fighting for a spot. You're not guaranteed. Tuchel doesn't, even though he's had you before, it doesn't matter. He talks about how he always has to prove himself. Like, that, you're just always going to have to prove yourself. That's just how it is being you. I mean, that comes with the territory. So it wasn't good enough from him. It wasn't good enough from a lot of these players. Like Khan said, Lukaku, I don't know about that guy anymore. I don't know. Other than Ziyech and Reece James, I wasn't happy with any of them.
No, me neither, to be honest, mate. Me neither. I'm just getting the team up on screen now. I'm just getting it ready. But I will start with that question. I will start with you, Con. Do you see my annoyance at... I mean, yeah, obviously we had still, third to secure. But we needed 1 point from 2 games. Both at Stamford Bridge against Leicester and Watford. Now, are you in agreement that, like, when other than now, or when, if not now, do you give youngsters the experience to be involved? I'm not even saying you have to start 5 of them, right? Obviously not. I understand that he wouldn't do that today. Maybe against Watford, it's a different discussion, but we still had something to do to make sure we come third, and obviously we want to come third. But how are Barkley and Saul and Kennedy on the bench ahead of at least some youngsters, right? Obviously, if the game goes badly anyway, then they probably don't come on regardless. But just the notion that they weren't even there in the first place, and the rest of the team, the likes of Alonso that keeps starting, and Rudiger, and Christensen is nowhere to be seen anyway. But playing Leicester with a double pivot of Kante and Jorginho, when we have nothing to lose, essentially, just go for it, man. What all that the fans need is some I don't know, what's the word? Just some nice things. That's all we need. And you give us the most defensive midfield two that we have. I just don't get it. I mean, Con, I know obviously we had a bit of a disagreement the last time you were on the stream when I was a bit critical of Tuchel and you were kind of defending him a little bit. And I'm like, fair enough. Hey, we all have our opinions and sometimes we're all a bit more emotional and less emotional than others. But do you see do you have any explanation for why there was a need to have these players on the bench and not a single youngster?
Laurenz, I'm gonna keep it real with you, bro. I honestly really don't care. Like, I'm sorry. Like, the youngsters are cool. It would be a nice day to get like 20 minutes against a Leicester or like a Watford, but I honestly don't care. I'm checked out for the season. Tuchel. If you imagine you're Tuchel and you put up with everything you put up with this season, the Lukaku interview, and then you have the injury crisis, the COVID situation, and then the sanctions where you have to be the guy speaking about it like the whole time. Like Bruce Buck, where were you at? Marina, where were you at making statements? Why was it Tuchel who had to answer all these questions 24/7 about it, Like, I don't blame him. He just wanted to get third place today. And to be honest, if he doesn't play a single youngster against Watford, I don't really give a shit, mate. I'm going to keep it 100. Like, if I genuinely cared, I'd say about if Harvey Fowl plays, if Lewis Hall, I really couldn't care. It is what it is to me, bro. I just want the season over. I'm just done with it. I'm checked out, mate.
Mate, if I'm honest, I even see what you're saying. Would it have mattered? Maybe not. I kind of get what you're saying. It's just, if one of these guys at least got some minutes, there would have been something for me to look at that I cared about in this game. Because with the 11 that played, the ones I want gone regardless of the game today. And the ones that are good, I know are good regardless of how they play today. Like, even if Reece James had a shocking game today, I wouldn't sit here and say, oh, Reece James needs to get gone, right? But giving us a few more glimpses of some other players could at least be something interesting, something to care about. I know you just said you don't care, but that at least has some sort of relevance then. And whether fucking Alonso plays or Rudiger plays, or like, it just doesn't matter. I mean, Clutch, how do you see that? Would you have wanted some of these players about, or are you more on con side of that? So we're like, who cares at this point? Who is involved and who isn't?
I mean, you have Kennedy and Barkley on the bench, so I mean, those two players alone could have been easily replaced. I mean, Barkley doesn't need to be here anymore. I mean, no offense to the guy, but like, you're occupying a spot, and you did make your penalty, whatever. But you're looking towards the future. We have 2 games left. We've got top 4. You want to secure top 3. I understand if you want to start your strongest squad, and I fully expect against Watford that we're not going to start most of these guys. I hope to bring some of the young people in, but I understand it. But to have at least a couple on the bench, maybe like a Sunset Bell or a Vale or something, that would have made more sense than having Barkley on the bench, who has probably literally no future with the team. So, I mean, I agree with you on that regard. My biggest problem with the lineup is why Mason Mount wasn't in it, because like I said yesterday, I felt like he deserved to have a redemption game for him, and he didn't even play. So who knows how this is even going to affect him? Question marks, but yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that's poor man management, if I'm honest. After that disappointment, I feel like give him another game. Don't make him feel like punished. I don't think we should be doing that. At the same time, do I understand that Pulisic stays in the team as much as he missed, obviously, 2 big chances against Liverpool? Well, still, at least he had those chances and created the one for Alonso and stuff. And Ziyech hadn't started in way too long anyway. So I also see that, but it's just not... Also, but why not try something, man? Like, again, nothing to play for. 1 point that we needed from 2 games against Leicester and Watford. Why not try back for? What, like, at least we did something towards the end when Reece James was in midfield, and like, we did something different. But why? Like, it's just so boring, man. Like, Simon Johnson, the Athletic journalist, tweeted towards the end of the game. Does anyone else feel like they've watched the same game at Stamford Bridge over and over and over again for 6 months? And that's quite literally it. Every game we play is the exact same. We give the goal away, and if we don't give the goal away, we just struggle to break a low block down. But if we do give one away, we struggle even more to break a low block down. And then it's just a matter of, on the day, who has some sort of individual moment. Today was a good Reece James cross and a good Alonso finish, and nothing else. And that's why we didn't score more than 1 goal. I mean, Aaron, were you any upset, any annoyed or whatever when you saw the team or when you saw the bench, or are you more on con side and you're like, who cares?
No, I'm definitely more on your side, because I think when you have nothing to play for, you have all the youth there who I saw on Twitter, they were saying, oh, a lot of the youth have been told to be on standby in case they need to come into the team because of injuries and stuff. But when you have 2 games left of your season, you have nothing left to play for, and you're going out there with one of your strongest 11s and your bench has no youth, it makes no sense to me. And especially like touching on that whole Mason Mount thing, I think when he's missed that penalty, he's going to feel like shit, because effectively that lost us the cup final. The worst thing you can then do is bring him out of that team. That'll just make him feel more shit. You should be throwing him in there to bring his confidence levels back up. So I don't know why he was taken out. Same thing you could obviously say about Aspilicueta. I think it's a little bit different when you're in the back line. It doesn't really affect you as much, sort of thing, like with the whole confidence of missing a penalty then going into another game or whatever. But
and also, he apparently wants to go to Barcelona anyway. So do I really give a shit? Like, I love him. He's a captain. He's been here for 10 years. I get it. But if you want to go to Barcelona anyway, don't really care whether you feel any bad after, missing a penalty, if I'm honest.
Yeah, no, I guess that's true as well. But I think more so, like, because he is considered a club legend, and rightfully so, because he's won everything with us. He's captained us in the Champions League final. So he definitely deserves, like, a send-off, as per se. But yeah, it's just when you're in our position, especially given how much of our squad we're going to have to get rid of next season and replace, you're not going to be able to replace it all with the kind of budget we're going to be working with. So this will be your opportunity to then integrate a lot more of the youth into the squad. They're not going to be playing week in, week out, or be on the bench all the time, but having them there as rotational players is helpful, and giving them Premier League experiences, like say for example today or against Watford, is what's going to help them bring up their confidence, and they'll have that belief that, you know what, there is a route for me to get into this first team squad.
I hear you. I hear you. Indefinite. Big shout out for the super chat. Appreciate it very much. Says sell Pulisic, Jorginho, Lukaku, Alonso, Hudson-Odoi, Werner, and Ziyech. Bringing Maddison, Tchouaméni, Cucurella, and Kounde/Gvardiol, and Lever on a small deal. Like I said, we will talk about ins, mostly outs, next week. But as a reactionary statement, I don't disagree. I'm not sure about Maddison. Really not. I know he's got a decent goal today, but I'm really not sure about that's what it needs. But hey, let's get into this game. Let's get into talking about this player. There's not much to say about Mendy, considering they had 2 shots. But I conceded one of those 2 shots at the near post again. Was it a very good finish? Was it right by the post? Yes. Do I expect the world's best goalkeeper, which he has been voted for, not the Yashin Award, but other awards, do I expect them to save it? Kind of yes, if I'm honest. Not him on current form, but if I still believed he was the best goalkeeper, which maybe we all did a few months ago, I expect them to save that. I think is saving it again. Again, I'm not going to go too harsh on that because it would have been, it would have needed a very, very good save, but still, it could have been saved, and it absolutely wasn't. 5 and a push, maybe even 4.5. I don't know. Clutch, what do you think? Is 5 about right, or do you think we should go even lower?
He did get beat at his near post, didn't he? But part of me thinks that he didn't see it coming until late. So,
well, then fix your own positioning to make sure you do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's been poor for the last 5 games, hasn't he?
To be honest, he's been poor since he's come back from the African Cup of Nations.
5.5?
At least not as good as before. Maybe not poor for the whole time, but
yeah, I'm going to go for a 5.5. I'm going to give him a little bit of a boost just because. But it's not been good enough, to be honest.
Fair dues. Aaron, what about you? 5 from my end, 5.5 from Clutch's end. What are you going to go with?
No, I think it's got to be a 5, to be honest, because when you look at the whole game, other than their goal, he had literally nothing to do, or at least I can't remember him having anything to do. But when you're getting beaten at your near post like that so early on in the game, it's just you've got to be doing better there. I know it's a good effort because the camera angle that I saw it when I was watching the game, it kind of looked like it started relatively far outside the post and then curved in, but it's still your near post at the end of the day. You should be doing a lot better. And I think I saw on Twitter they had a XG of 0.08. So for them to have that and then come out of the game with a 1-1 based off of them scoring from a shot that you conceded at your near post is not good enough.
My point, exactly, if I'm honest. Con, what about you? Do you think 5 is a bit harsh on Mendy? Would you potentially even go lower? Or what do you think? What do you even think about the goal? Do you think he should be saving it or could be saving it?
Like I said, if we have these high expectations of him, then yeah, I do. Sorry, I do. Say he's near post. His form for the last couple of months has been arse. Whatever, I'll give him a 5, bro.
Fair dues. You know what? I'll stick with you because Rudiger is a tough one. I mean, I know you said you don't care, but did you think he should keep playing now that there's essentially nothing to play for and we know he's leaving? I mean, at least with Aspi and Jorginho and Alonso, we don't, in a way, know for sure. But with Rudiger, we know for sure.
Yeah, with Rudiger, I get why he played today because Tuchel just wants to get the win, but if you're not going to be here next season, I don't really want to see you playing. But then again, I don't really care, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's Watford. Well, I give him for a rating today. I give him 5, 6, maybe 6.
Yeah.
Seems a bit fair.
Okay. I was probably leaning more towards a 5, but anyway, in roughly that area. I mean, Clutch, let me go with you next. Could he have done better for the goal itself as well? Obviously, main culprit Alonso. Maybe you could argue second main culprit Thiago Silva, just because that one body feint by Maddison sent him way too far. But could Rudiger have been someone as much as Alonso screws it up by not doing anything? Alonso stopped doing anything very early, so I feel like Rudiger still could have stopped it, but he didn't. I don't know. That's me maybe being a bit harsh. But hey, what do you expect? You're leaving. I don't have loyalties and sympathies to players that I know are leaving.
Personally, it just didn't look like he cared. I mean, I don't think he did anything terrible, but I also don't think he did anything positive. He wasn't his normal self. He wasn't breaking up play. There was one time he headed the ball out of the bounds. Just I don't know why he did it, but he just did it for no reason. He wasn't pushing forward enough. He wasn't commanding. We had most of the ball, so it's not like he had to defend a lot. So I'd give him a 6, I guess, average, but I wouldn't play him. I wouldn't have played him. Aspie was over there for me yesterday.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Just to point something out. Now, sorry, what's your rating for Rudiger before I read out what I've got in front of me?
Was that for me?
Yeah, what's your rating?
6.
I don't think you said a rating.
6.
Oh, did you say 6? Okay. Chelsea are now 19 points behind Man City, which is the same total as last season, with a game to spare. I mean, I could read the rest, but it doesn't really matter. That's poor. I mean, last season we brought Tuchel in at being 9th. By the time we actually played the first game with Tuchel, we had gone down to 10th because some team behind us played a game more than us. And we still finished the same amount of points behind Man City as we did last year. Like, that's so poor. Like, we spent £100 million on a striker and stupendous amounts of wages on a midfielder who then in the end played 150 minutes of Premier League football, only to be as far away. And that's only if we beat Watford. And you say that Watford relegation zone guaranteed you get relegated and everything. Are you confident we're beating Watford? I'm not. Do you know what I mean? So poor, really, 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 really poor. Aaron, what about you? 2 6s then from the boys for Rudiger. Would you go along with that? Would you go lower? What do you think?
Nah, that was a 5. Like, he looks like he just does not give a shit. Like, I don't know what it is about him, but like Clutch said it as well. It was like there was a ball that had come over, and I think there was 1 or 2 players like in a close vicinity to him where he could have just headed it to one of them, and he just knocks it straight out of play. And I'm thinking, you've got 2 options then. You're just knocking it out. I don't know what you're doing. And he was so much more interested in having a little tussle with Iheanacho for most of the game rather than actually just paying attention and doing his job. I was so confused. It was very like an immature performance is I think the best way to put it. But he doesn't look like he gives a shit. I wouldn't play him last game. I think you've done your thing. Now you can pack your bags and go.
I would actually agree, and I probably would have also given him a 5, I'm honest, which leaves us at a 5.5 in total. What have I just seen here? We've won 8 home games this season. 8. Obviously, you have 1 to go. So currently, out of 17 home games, we've won 8. That means we've won less than half our Premier League home games. Do you know how bad that is? There used to be a time where we didn't lose at Stamford Bridge for 4 years straight. And now we can't even win 10 Premier League games at home. My God, how the tables have turned. Right? How the tables have turned. Thiago Silva in the middle. To be honest, I was surprised that he played. Not really, because Tuchel didn't mention him as being injured yesterday. But still, he obviously was limping after the FA Cup final and still he played today. And he was decent. Not really much to complain about. Yeah, he could have done better on the Maddison goal, but at least otherwise, he was basically forced to do everything build up that we did. Did he always do it great? No. And he should have done better for the goal. I'm going to give him a 6, but I'll see what you boys think. Aaron, 6, 7, a bit lower, a bit higher. What do you think?
I think 6, because on the goal, I feel like this is very speculative, he maybe could have closed him down a little bit better to try and either push the angle or block the shot or something. Like, it's very speculative. You could say this, that, and the other, but he didn't at the end of the day. But I think other than that, he was very like calm in what he was doing, just picking the ball up and playing the passes that he needed to. Didn't really have to do anything like extensive of like playing a long ball over somewhere and a risky pass or something. I think there was like one moment when he was like in the box and there was somebody like right on him and he done like a pass just behind and I was bricking it. I thought, yeah, you're about to fuck this up and we're going to concede. But no, it was just average. But again, for his levels, you're seeing that it's slowly starting to drop with the rest of the back line as well.
I don't disagree. If I'm honest. Clutch. 6. I mean, somebody in the chat said even a 5 because, he should just have done way better for the goal. What do you think?
Maybe, but I thought there were quite a few times he stepped in areas and kind of knocked the ball away. I thought defensively, other than that one time, he was fine. I'd probably go with a 6.5, to be honest. Yeah, 6.5. We'll go 6.5 for Thiago Silva.
There you go. Con then. 2 6s, 1 6.5. Where do you sit on Thiago's performance?
I didn't think he had too much of a bad game. The only person I really blame for that goal is Alonso, you know?
Yeah.
Absolute clown, man. Probably give him a 6.5. I thought he was good. I think he was the best at centre half today. Actually, I don't know. Chalobah was really good today as well. Actually. No, I thought he was solid. Then, like for the goal, I'm not really gonna blame him because, like, look where he forced Maddison to. He shouldn't be scoring from there. Don't care what anyone tells me. Maddison shouldn't be scoring from there. He shouldn't. But yeah, I'll give him 6.5.
Fair. Ladies and gentlemen, though, what that leaves us at is 2 6s and 2 6.5s, meaning your opinions are required. I have put a poll into the chat, so it should be at the top of the chat, whether you're on your phone, then below us, and if you're on desktop, next to us. Make sure you put your vote into there, whether you think Thiago Silva should be getting a 6 or a 6.5. I'll give you a few minutes on that while we move on to Trevor Chalobah. Now, I tweeted this during the game, during the first half. Trevor Chalobah was kind of the only person that put smiles on my faces in that first half at times because he did not even great things. He had one good shot and then defended well. Like, he was never really troubled by anything or anyone, which I was happy with. So I was going to give him a 7. That was going to be my rating. I think he did well as an individual. Can't really fault him. So my thoughts, Con, do you think he was better than Thiago Silva, or would you in your head put him on a similar level?
I thought Chalobah was really good today, to be honest. Can't lie. I don't think I saw one thing he did wrong.
Yeah.
What did you give him a 7?
I said just because Leicester, I mean, they basically didn't attack, so it seems a bit difficult to give the defenders any higher than that, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I'll go over 7. I thought he was really good today, Chalobah. Yeah.
Fair dues. Clutch. 7 for you as well. Would you potentially even go higher, or you think that's fair enough?
No, I'd probably go with a 7. I thought he was very good. I thought his shot was really good. One of the only times to kind of test the keeper. Defensively, he was really solid. It's hard to kind of capture or keep out Jamie Vardy. Jamie Vardy's actually a lightning quick guy, so when you outpace him, I think you're doing all right. So I had a pretty good game.
Yeah. Although he is also 35, considering how we saw Luis Diaz outpace Chalobah. Maybe that was more on Jamie Vardy than Chalobah. But still, Chalobah played well. No complaints from me whatsoever. By the way, guys, before we move on to the wingback, subscribe if you haven't already. We're on the road to 15,000 subscribers. Probably won't make it by the end of the season, considering missed the FA Cup game. There won't be player ratings on Sunday, unfortunately, because I won't be able to watch the game. Not great timing, I know, but sometimes there's nothing you can do. But yeah, please do subscribe. So, hit that big red subscribe button down below. Tell your mum, tell your dad, tell your friends to subscribe and smash the like button for me as well. And also, don't forget to, click your opinion, I suppose, in the poll about Thiago Silva's rating. I'll give you a few more minutes. Now, let's get to said. Oh, I did actually forget you out, Aaron. No, I thought Chalobah. I'm very, very sorry. See,
Right,
there we go.
right.
Sometimes it happens too quickly in my mind. Do you agree on the 7?
Yeah, I think if his goal had gone in, it would have gone up a rating because it was very like shades of Crystal Palace, the way he picked up the ball. He took like a few steps forward and it's that same motion and he just pelted it. And I thought, if this goes in, but it wasn't to be, unfortunately. But no, other than that, he was much better than both the other two centre backs. Like, there was literally nothing coming down our right side. He didn't really have much to do, but you could see like he was actually trying to push the game forward a little bit, like bring the ball out a bit and just play the passes that were going more forward and stuff. So I think he had, I wouldn't say a great game, but he was better than the other two. It was a relatively good game.
I hear that. Now, let's move on to said main culprit for the goal. Con, I'll start with you actually, because, you said you're basically only blaming him. What is he doing? Like, obviously the goal he scored after, great goal. And the problem is that maybe how much does that even itself out? But like, what is he doing? He just couldn't be bothered to run anymore. Like, it would have been so easy to stop that whole goal if he just ran. And we all know Alonso is really, really slow, but even he could have gotten that. Like, do you have any sort of explanation what that guy's doing, Con?
Bro, for how many years now, I have no idea what goes on in Alonso's head. None at all. I saw the goal when I watched it back. I was like, I can't believe this. Typical Marcos Alonso. Then he score. Of course he scores. Of course he scores. Oh god, man, this guy should just play a striker against Watford, man. Please, I need to see it just so my mind's at ease to know what it would have been like. Oh, I'm giving him a 5. I don't care if he scored. How many years has he made mistakes like that, man? That sort of thing where he doesn't.
It wasn't even very nice with 5, even though he scored. I'm honest.
I'm literally that's why I'm only giving him 5, bro, because he scored and it was a nice finish. And this guy can't defend, bro. He just ain't got the legs, man. It's pathetic.
It's not like, number one, you're right, he can't defend. But to make it even worse, he doesn't even want to defend. Like, that's one thing being bad at something if you at least try. It's another whole different story if you're bad at something and then you don't even try. I'm like, what is wrong with you? But fair enough. I think Conte's being very nice with the 5. But let's see what the other boys think. Clutch, what about you? I mean, he scored a great goal. But is that great goal enough for him to earn a 5 from you as well? Or would you go lower?
Other than the goal, what did he do? He didn't defend well. He wasn't good offensively. He was just being the typical Marcos Alonso. So, give him a 5. Why not? Send him off on a good note. Bye. Have a good day at Barcelona.
Or not, if I'm honest. Don't have a good day there. Aaron, 2-5 so far. Do you think the boys are being nice or will you go along with it?
That was way too nice. I was thinking more like a 4 because for me, I think the goal and the mistake cancel each other out, but that mistake was horrendous. Like, the ball's coming over. I don't know what's possessed him to just stop running all of a sudden. That was really stupid. Obviously, the finish was nice, and like that's what you get with Alonso. You get all of this stupidness in the game and these silly mistakes and stuff, and then he pops up with the goal, and suddenly you're meant to think it's all right. But it's like the little things when he's going down the byline and he gets to a point where he can't do anything else, but because he's so one-footed, he just has to keep coming back. He can't do anything with his right. Or it's like when he's receiving the ball and he's looking for a cross, he'll wait for the ball to come to him. He doesn't come towards the ball and cross it in. If he done that, the amount of crosses we'd actually be able to get into the box that don't either hit the first man or he just doesn't get the chance. He has to chop back and then go back towards one of the centre-backs. His game just annoys me so much, and I'm praying that Barcelona sign him because they're linked with a few other left-backs, but if they can take him off our hands, well, I'll be chuffed.
Hey, so will I. I mean, his offensive stats aren't even that bad, but obviously that doesn't take into account how much of the ball we had and how even those stats that don't look that bad are still bad. But the defensive stats, man, when you look at those, 0 out of 2 tackles, 1 clearance, 1 headed clearance, dribble pass, but ground duels, 2 out of 7. Aerial duels, 1 out of 3. My God, are you awful? Yeah, I'd probably agree with the 4, if I'm honest, which leaves us at a 4.5. Let me quickly check the poll for Thiago Silva's rating before we move on to Reece James. Get involved still, guys, if you haven't already. But so far, we sit at 60% for the 6.5 and 41%, no, 59 and 41% for the 6. So I'll leave that for a couple more minutes, but, definitely make sure you get your votes in there. Now, Reece James. I mean, in the first half, I still thought he looked a bit lackluster, but the longer the game went on, and obviously he had a great moment in the first half as well. Was it the second half? Yeah, it was the second half. But anyway, moving into midfield then later on in the game when we had a midfield 3 of Jorginho, James, and Ruben, even though James was all over the shop, once as a 10, once as the deepest of the 3, once he was kind of up top at the left. It's kind of where Pulisic is now on screen. No idea what he was doing, but great assist. Mendy's another shot. Should have had not another assist, but the pre-assist for Pulisic sitter, because that was a move instigated and started basically solely by Reece James himself. Good performance. I'm not going to go stupendously crazy because he can still do way better, but he will still, in terms of rating, definitely by far the best player on the pitch. I'm going to give him a 7.5. I don't think anyone warrants anything higher. Maybe you could say an 8 because as an individual, he was quite good. But, man, I've had enough. I've had enough of these 1-1 draws. We need to stop overly praising players when they do nothing. We also need to stop overly criticizing them when they do things wrong. But we just praise players so way too easily. No wonder they can never be bothered to do anything because they do one step over and we tell them they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. So I probably wouldn't be doing anything if everyone told me that on a daily basis. So It's a tough one. Clutch. 7.5. Do you think being harsh by, stealing him off that 8, or do you think it's fair?
I'm going to give him the 8. Why not? Been one of our better players, probably our future best player. Currently, I think he is our best player that we have. His crossing's good. The beginning of the first half, I obviously put in the group chat that he had some awful dribbling, but as time went on, he got a little bit more into the game. So I give him an 8. It's probably too high for what we witnessed today, but let's give him something well above everyone. Give him that 8.
Fair enough. Aaron, what about you? Would you go as high as the 8? Would you potentially go even lower than my 7.5? What do you think?
No, I'd go with the 8 as well, because I think, as you said, he looked a little bit leggy. I don't know if it was being tired from the cup final on the weekend or whatever, but I think he slowly grew into the game. But he obviously got his assist, which was a great assist, nice little floated ball over. But even more so, it was although he's from that right wing back position, he was drifting inwards. He was pushing the play forward. He was trying to force something to happen. And once he came into midfield, it was kind of confusing what his position was, because he was all over the shop. He was as you said, he was in the Pulisic position in the 10 once, left of the midfield 3. But I think that just tells you Reece James can go into your position and still do a better job than you, even though it's your natural position. But the guy was, today I think he was our best player. He was just trying to really push the team on and create something out of nothing, because everyone else around him was useless.
Okay. So far, then being outvoted on the 8, Con, will you go along with the boys as 8 for Reece James? Do you think he warrants that today?
Yeah, bro, easily 8. Our best player by a country mile. You can just see the level of him compared to others on the pitch, innit? And look how young he is. You can just see the levels, innit? You know who's about it and who's not. And there's only 2 players really today, maybe 3 out of push. You can see who are really about it. The rest ain't.
There you go. Fair play. Like I say, I'm not even disagreeing that he maybe deserves an 8. I just didn't want to go that high up for anyone today, if I'm honest. Let's go to Jorginho before we talk about N'Golo Kante, where Thomas Tuchel said something very interesting post-game, which I do want to dive into. But yeah, Jorginho, don't think it was bad. He can't be bad. His job is for us to retain possession. We had so much possession. He can't have done his job that badly. Were some of his attempted decisive passes good enough? No. But I was okay with him. Not really much to complain, if I'm honest. I'll probably... Yeah. You know what, Clash? I'll ask you first, actually. Because I'm not sure if I want to go with what I have in my head or if I'm being crazy. So what are you going to give him? Sorry to throw you under the bus.
I'm in between a 6.5 or a 7. Khan's back, so we're going to give him a 7. I thought he was pretty good at what he normally does. He was still trying those balls over the top. Were they the best? No. But he was probably better than most of them, especially the guy he was paired with to the side. I'm going to have a very big problem with what Tuchel said about him. But, yeah, I give him a 7. Okay,
there you go. Aaron, what about you? 7? Do you think a little bit lower than that? Whereabouts would you place Jorginho?
I think more of a 6.5 for me, because I think I didn't really... He done what he had to do, sort of thing. He didn't have crazy amounts to do when he was going... when they were attacking, because they didn't really come towards us that much. I think he just kept it very simple, did what he had to do. I think there was one moment that was quite funny where the ball got knocked past him and he just dropped to his knees and fell backwards. That made me laugh quite a bit. But I think it was just very average for Jorginho. We know he can do so much better, but it was a bit meh, really.
Okay, I hear that. Condon, 1.6.5 for 1.7 so far. We know you're a big Georgie fan, so does that mean you're going to go for the higher one, potentially even higher than Clutch's 7?
Yeah, I'm going 7.5, bro. He had the most key passes today. He had the most tackles today. I don't know if that's an average performance. Then why are we complaining so much that we need a DM so badly? The most tackles on the pitch, which he normally does anyway when he plays, by the way. But people say he's poor defensively is a myth. I think he got the most key passes today, or he's up there. He had more key passes than Reece James. I think Jorginho had 4 today. Most tackles as well. 7.5. I thought it was really good today, Jorginho.
Fair. I was in my head initially thinking the 7, and I wasn't sure if I'm being a bit nice, because do I really think it was better than Chalobah is what I was thinking in my head. I'm like, I was more happy with Chalobah, but I feel like that's not really Jordi's fault. So I was going to go for the 7, which leaves us at the 7 in the end. And let's get to N'Golo Kante. Before I ask you guys for your ratings, I quickly want to read out what Thomas Tuchel said about N'Golo Kante after the game. If it loads, there you go. Tuchel spoke heavily about Kante and only having him for 40% of matches. He's our Mo Salah, Kylian Mbappe, and Virgil van Dijk. Without him, it's a miracle we finished top 4. Yeah, that is baffling. And part of the reason why we're so attackingly shit. Because unfortunately our manager thinks that. I'm not saying I question all of his thoughts, but that individual one shows his pragmatism and my at times annoyance at quite that pragmatism. And on today, all I really remember of Kante was the one good ball to Reece before the goal. And other than that, I just really remember him fouling, if I'm honest. I mean, if anybody else disagrees with that, fair enough. Let me see how many fouls did he commit. 5 fouls committed. 2 out of 9 ground duels won. 2 out of 2 aerial ones, to be fair, considering with how short he is. Maybe not too bad. Passes was good, 94%. Can't really complain about that too much. But dribbles, successful, 0 out of 1. Accurate long balls, 1 out of 3. Like, it just ran it. Like I said, there was 1 or 2 moments I'm like, yeah, that's Kante. But otherwise, it's just not pretty. It really isn't. I mean, I think we're being generous if we're giving him a 6, if I'm honest. Which means I'll give him a 5.5 from my end. You guys can do what you think, right? Con, I held you last for Jorginho. Why don't you go first on this one? What do you make of Ngolo, I guess? And do you think I'm being harsh? Do you think I'm being nice, maybe?
I think you're about right, to be fair. Most interceptions today, if I'm not mistaken. He did that part well, intercepting the ball, but everything else just weren't great, was it? Just weren't great. With that Tuchel quote, it makes you think how fit Ngolo's been when he's been playing this season. You know? I know when he's not around, like, obviously he doesn't play, but like when he is like fit, and I'm doing a thing with my fingers, you know, the 2 fingers when you do that thing.
Yeah.
It's called quotation mark, whatever it is. Yeah, I don't think he's been 100% fit at any point this season. Because like Tuchel, like this guy's not dumb. Like, he's an elite manager. We've seen Kante this season, and he's not been in the goal of vote. Do you know what I mean? So if he's still saying that, then I don't think he's been entirely fit. So yeah, but anyways, back to this game. I think 5.5 is around fair because he was pretty good off the ball, but on the ball, man, you know, against low blocks, Laurenz, we talk about it nearly every week. Kante versus low blocks, bro. It's so horrible to watch, man.
Can I ask you though, because I see your point with the whole like how fit was he then for those games, but if that's how highly Tuchel values him, whether we agree or disagree with him on it is kind of besides the point. He's the one making the decisions. But if what you're hinting at or what you're questioning almost how fit was he, that makes it in my head almost even weirder because if he thinks of him as that good, surely he's only that good when he's fully fit because we've seen the season and he wasn't that good for very many games this season. Please do excuse the ambulance noises in the background. But yeah, I mean, 5.5 so far, but I don't know anymore. But how can he say that? How can he say that? He's like, what?
And that's Laurenz. That's why I said about the fitness thing, because like in my head that doesn't make any sense from what we've seen this season. It doesn't make sense. I'm sorry.
If he's not fit,
I don't know, bro. I generally have no idea, mate.
It's just a shame. I'm not saying Kante was never that. He definitely was. There was certainly a period where that's exactly what he was. Well, not Mo Salah, but basically our most important player. But he only really was that for one season? Because before that it was Hazard. And he wasn't it this season. Was he it last season? In the Champions League run, maybe, but over the whole season, most definitely not. But okay, 5.5 then so far. Aaron, what do you think? Do you think we're being nice with that even? Would you go lower? Do you think we're fair? What do you reckon?
Firstly, that Tuchel quote that Tuchel quote is so confusing. Like, I think I'm happy it's the end of the season because he sounds like he needs a break because he's starting to lose the plot a little bit. But Kante today, I don't know. I was watching the game and it just looked horrible. Like the amount of fouls he was committing, I was like, this ain't like you. You're not normally one to mess about with these little jewels. Normally you'll stick your leg in there, bring the ball out and take it away. But he just wasn't with it today for some reason. He just looked very off, and I'd personally go with a 5. I think the 5.5 is a little bit too nice.
Fair enough. I don't even think you're too far off, if I'm honest. But he did have a couple of decent moments, and like Conte had the most interceptions. So yeah, but hey,
I just think the tackling was just too bad today.
5 fouls, you know.
That's
I'm surprised Leicester had the ball enough for us to foul them that often, because they never had the ball. But clutch 1-5, 2-5, 1-5s. What are you going to go with?
A 4. He wasn't good. What? He wasn't even close to being good. He was one of the worst players on the pitch. Hello? Am I crazy?
Alonso a 5.
He was worse than Alonso. He just didn't cause the goal. That's the only thing. Alonso got a goal and caused the goal. Kante didn't do any. I mean, I guess if Lukaku was better, he would have had an assist. We'll move it up to a 5. I'll move it up to a 5, but he really doesn't deserve it. He was dribbling into players left and right. He didn't break up the play very much. He wasn't good. And the fact that Tuchel, yes, on his day, Kante is the best player we have, maybe, besides Reece James. Maybe. But he's not been that for months. So why do we keep trying? Why do we play him if he's not fit? Don't do it. Kante's a very good player, but you can see his legs going. He can't do what he used to do. He's not breaking up the play like he's supposed to. He's playing in a midfield pivot. His decision making at the final third is terrible. Like, it's just not good enough for him. For a guy that we know who is that good. Kante doing this hurts because he is one of our best players, if not our best player. And the fact that he was that bad today hurts.
It does. It does. Ladies and gentlemen, it does leave us at a split vote again of 2 5.5s and 2 5s. Which is why I put it to you again. The chat is at the chat. The poll is in the chat. So please do place your votes. Again, I'll give you a few minutes before we highlight the final decision of that on screen. With that being said, let's move on to the more attacking players. I guess with Hakim Ziyech first, as he's a bit more defensive than Christian Pulisic. I said it in kind of the intro already. His work rate today was very good. Like every time he lost the ball, he was steaming after. There was one tackle like from behind that he did at the halfway line in the second half, trying to win the ball back. Fantastic. One cross for Lukaku. He had wonderful cross. Lukaku needs to do more with that.
Was that to me? I'm sorry.
Has Lawrence froze?
Yeah, he seems like he's frozen.
Well, anyway, guys, we'll pick up it from here. So you got your 3 hosts now. It's Con, Clutch, and I think it's the first time we're doing it. So it's Ahas. We're the new host. We took over Lawrence's channel. I finally booted him off, guys. Don't worry. Don't have to hear that Loftus-Cheek praise anymore. I know everyone's tired of it. Don't worry. We'll save you from that now. You don't have to hear overrating of Loftus-Cheek. We got you.
We've completed the takeover.
Please keep talking for me, guys. The internet's Did you hear any of me? Or...
No, bro. I think you're completely frozen.
Just gone.
You're completely frozen, bro.
Oh, well, cheers, boys. Cheers, internet. I was supposedly got new, better internet last week, so cheers, boys. But yeah, I don't know where I was cut off, but yeah, I was praising CS work rate. But every time we did anything with the ball, with 2 exceptions, maybe 3, it was kind of really poor. So I'm struggling really what rating to give. Now, usually I would say you're not getting any extra credit for work rate. But when you're one of the only 2 or 3 players on the whole pitch showing that work rate, maybe you do. Hence why I'm giving him a 6.5. I don't think it was good enough anyway. Yeah. No, I don't think it warrants a 7, if I'm honest. I think there were too many bad crosses and bad shots. And yeah, the shots that get blocked, maybe you can say it's unlucky, but it's also like, how is he the only player that keeps going for shots that get blocked? Like, it's just too easy to read that he's shooting. But, Clutch, I heard you say something as I was, cutting out. I'm not sure if that was in reaction to me cutting out or whatever you said. What would you make of that 6.5? Would you go lower? Would you go higher? Do you think it's fair? What do you think?
I'm in between the 6.5 and the 7. Do I stay positive? I I'm gonna give him a 6.5. Like you said, I mean, he had what? I think he had 2 completed crosses out of 12 or something like that, and he had a couple few shots. And Havertz should have probably at least took a shot from that through ball. That was a good through ball, but he did have a couple good moments, so I'm gonna give him the 6.5.
Okay. Again, guys, get involved in the N'Golo Kante rating poll down below. So far, the 5 is winning over the 5.5, actually. So get your votes in there, whether you agree or disagree with the current standings. Okay, 6.5 so far then, Con. Harsh, fair, maybe even, are we being too nice? What do you think?
You know I'm a big CS fanboy, bro, but I think he's been a bit too nice with a 6.5.
Okay.
I feel like I saw him like dribble past players at times and see he's well played. I thought, that's good, but anytime he tried to get like a ball into the box or something, it's just terrible, wasn't it?
True.
He did get a good chance to Lukaku and Kai. Kai completely missed the ball. Lukaku headed it wide. Actually, 6.5. I think if you put into context that he hasn't really played much football compared to the other 2 he's playing with today in the last couple of months, like I think he was better. Definitely looked the sharpest of the 3 today. I'll give him a 6.
Okay, there you go. Just as another random stat to throw out there, it was his first Premier League start since February, and the only other game he started in that period was in the FA Cup against, forget which one, Middlesbrough maybe.
Middlesbrough.
That was his second start since February in all competitions. So awful, really. Not awful as he is awful, but as in awful that he had times this season where we're like, we need him for everything. For example, that scream against Spurs, and then you don't see him for 2 months, and or 3 months, and no one really knows why. Aaron, 6.5, so myself a clutch, and 1.6 from Con. Where are you going to go with that?
Well, Con said your 6.5 was nice, but I'm actually going to go for a 7 because for me, I think you have to put a lot into perspective with Ziyech because he hasn't played much football at all. But for him to come into the starting 11 today, he looked very hungry. Like he was going for everything. He was putting his all into it. He was running back, making tackles, sticking the ball in the box. I know he only completed 2 of the crosses, but I think we don't have enough people who actually attempt that. So it's good to see a bit of positivity from him that he's actually trying to get that ball in the box, especially when you're playing with Lukaku. You want to be getting that ball into the box. And really, he should have had 2 assists if Lukaku's header. We know Lukaku and headering at this point is just a write-off. But even with the ball through to Havertz, I think Havertz hit it with his right foot first when he meant to go with his left, and then
I think he got shoved a bit, and then that's why his right.
Yeah, then he hit his standing foot or something. But I think he should have had 2 assists today. A bit unfortunate for him, but I think he did work very hard. I think him and Reece James were obviously Reece James was standout man of the match throughout the whole team, but I think him and Reece James, both of them were the ones more above average than everyone else. I think everyone else was a bit lackluster, but they brought something else to the team today down that right-hand side. Even Trevor as well down that right side. I think all 3 of them were like the main outlet for us and the main bit of energy that we had in the squad.
There you go. I do agree, if I'm honest. I do agree. But hey, in the end, that leaves us at a 6.5 with 2 6.5s, 1.6 and 1.7. Let's get to Christian Pulisic. Like I say, miss of the season. I mean, wonderful work by Reece James down the right-hand side. Plays it to Lukaku. Lukaku, that's the only good thing he did all day with a decent weak foot cross. And Pulisic just essentially had an empty goal to tap it into within, I think, the 6-yard box. And he just barely touched the ball and it just went wide. And I mean, I made the joke, the guy doesn't even need a Snapchat filter to make himself cry. He just needs to play football. I mean, he looked so upset with himself, which what's the word I'm looking for here? I like it when players look upset with themselves. But that may sound wrong. What I mean by that is, there is some players that miss a sitter and then almost look around, almost looking for something and someone to blame. He was very clearly just annoyed at himself. Also, I think when he was subbed off, I'm sure he was annoyed that he was subbed off because he probably wanted to make that mistake right and still get a goal. But still, why he looked so subbed off why he looked so annoyed, in my opinion, was probably because he knew how he screwed up by missing that sit. And it was a really bad sit, a really bad miss. I mean, his passing accuracy was 100%, 16 out of 16. But was a single one of those any difficult? I can't remember one, but there might have been 1 or 2 in there. But yeah, it really wasn't very good. Ground duel, 6 out of 12. It's not the worst for an attacker, I suppose. 4 fouls he won, but that miss is really bad. Like I say, miss of the season. I don't think we've had a worse miss. This is the worst miss the Chelsea Football Club since Werner missed from the goal line against Leeds last season. So for that, I'm going to give him a 4 because, I mean, quite literally cost us the win. And, I mean, miss of the season, you can't be getting higher ratings when you have to miss of the season. Just don't work like that in my head. Aaron, what about you? Number 1, do you think it was the miss of the season? Maybe not for all teams. Clearly haven't seen everything, but for us.
I'll have to do some research and find out, but it's definitely up there for all teams because that performance from Pulisic was dreadful. I would have gone for like a 3.
Nice on the 3, if I'm honest, mate.
I would have gone for like a 3 because I think not only that miss, I think there was another chance earlier on in the game where we were going through, and I think Lukaku either laid it off or left it for Pulisic, and instead of either taking a shot or taking a touch towards goal, I think he either mistouched it or just didn't, and it dragged it wide away from the goal, and then he had to come back instead. And I thought those are good opportunities. If you were a bit sharper and on it like that, then we could have had a seriously good chance there. But I don't think he's up to the races. I think next game, God knows what Tuchel's going to do with the team next game. That's not even a discussion for now. But I think that's the end of Pulisic's season now. I think he just needs to sit the next one out because that was dreadful. That's a 3.
Fair. I mean, HM in the chat even said he's max a 1. Maybe that's a bit harsh. But yeah, I mean, maybe I wasn't even being nice on the 3. On the 4, sorry. I will go to clutch last. So Condon, 1-3 and 1-4. How do you assess one bad miss and how do you assess what really bad miss? But how do you assess everything else he did? Because he had a couple of good dribbles, but those never really went anywhere. I mean, he won us some free kicks, but then the team doesn't do anything with the free kicks. Even if Leicester are by far the worst team at defending set pieces in the whole league this season, we did nothing. We had one good header. Was it Thiago Silva that had it? But other than that, nothing from set pieces. So even the fouls don't give you much. But that's obviously not Pulisic's fault.
That miss is absolutely ridiculous how he's missed that. I can't. There's no defending it. It's such a poor miss. It costs us the game. Simple as that. You have to convert that, Christian, man. You have to. And do you know I was watching Pulisic today, bro? Do you know he put me in mind of someone who I watched literally yesterday? He put me in reminder of Ryan Kent, who would occasionally duel past the player, end product not great, drawing a lot of fouls. That's what Pulisic was today. Why is he put?
The pace of Ryan Kent, though.
Sorry?
With half the pace of Ryan Kent, though.
And that's the player who comes to mind when I'm thinking of Pulisic. Is Ryan Kent. Are you having a laugh? So for me, it's a 3 today. There's that miss alone. It's just terrible. I don't care if he played phenomenal up. That miss is so bad. But bro, I'm getting really tired of. I'm really trying to get behind Pulisic, man. I really am. But like, oh god, this guy doesn't do himself any favors, does he? He really don't. It's a 3 for me today, man.
You know what? I think you two might have convinced me. Clutch might try to convince me another direction again. But to be fair to Clutch, as much as he might be a big fan of Pulisic, sometimes he's even harsher than I am and some of us else are. So do you even disagree with the 3 Clutch? Or would you even go along with it?
No, that's what he deserves today. It's a 3. I mean, he literally missed one of the easiest tap-ins that you could ever get. And that's just not like him. I mean, I back him to be probably our second best finisher, and he misses those? Are you kidding me? That's the shots you're going to miss? If you're going to miss a shot, miss one.
Behind who? Reece James, Alonso? Certainly none of the other forwards.
I mean, I guess if you take it in context of this year, yes. But I think in general, Lukaku has been historically a good finisher. He's not this year for whatever reason, but out of at least the attackers, I'm going to say the second best finisher. But it's one of those things. If he's going to miss, I'd rather him miss like he did against Liverpool with a one-on-one on the keeper where the keeper saves it. I don't want him to miss that. That's not what I want you to miss. That was just a really bad miss for him. And wasn't good. I do think he had some decent moments, but it's that final product that he's just missing to get himself over the line to be one of those players, and he just didn't have it. So, yeah, 3 is fair for him.
Sorry, Lawrence, wasn't there another Pulisic chance like in a game recently where he got flagged for offside, but he pretty much missed in the same way?
Oh, yeah.
Leeds, right?
Yeah. Was it not Leeds where you missed literally the exact same way, but he got flagged as offside, so he was lucky?
I think so. I think it might have been exactly that, yeah. And it's just and I said it at the time, that he was just absolutely saved by that flag. And since then, he's missed more sitters against Liverpool and then another one today. So not exactly going well. I'm not sure if we're going to end up on a split for Lukaku, but I'll just be intrigued what you guys in the chat do think of Romelu Lukaku's rating. So I'll put a poll with 4 options in the chat. So please get involved. If it's none of these 4 options, I'm sorry, but I wouldn't go higher for him. So I'd be surprised if anyone else does. But again, guys, be sure to subscribe and smash the like button. We need to get to at least 100 likes, 150. Come on. We have 260 people watching. So get down below, smash the like button. Does cost any money, barely cost you any time. But Romelu Lukaku, clutch. Why don't I let you start on this one? Should have had the assist for Pulisic, obviously, which, should have been the assist to the winner. So that was good. But everything else was, almost as diabolical as it gets. He even got himself booked, man. That's
it was a poor header. For one time he actually jumped over somebody. He had a poor header, went around.
For the first time I've seen that in months.
He had the one-on-one with the keeper and somehow still let the guy catch up to him.
So bad.
I know people are going to praise him because he had decent link-up, but it's like... You're a striker, man. Like, he's not getting into good enough positions. He's not moving around. I seen him one time this entire game come back to go, create space for somebody else. And I guess his pressing was a little bit better.
Isn't that the one time he came back and tried to play a through ball to Ziyech and overhit it by 50 yards?
Yes, that was that moment. I give him a 4.5. It's just... I don't know about that guy anymore, man. I don't think he's not going to do what Tuchel wants him to do.
No. That's. The reports out of Italy was he doesn't want to stay with this coach. Apparently, obviously, who knows whether they are true because they're reports out of Italy and they're, as hot and cold as a pizza when you put it in the fridge. But, hey, 4.5 from your end, which was at the time of you saying that, the option with the least amount of votes so far in the chat, which was the most clutch thing I've ever seen, but big up clutch. Aaron, 4.5 from clutch. Do you think he's being nice? Whereabouts would you go for Lukaku today?
No, I think he's spot on. I think I would have gone for a 4, but I think I gave him the extra 0.5 because he should have had the assist for Pulisic. That should have been his assist. But just in general, that header, you've got to at least get that on target. Whether you're scoring or not is one thing, but at least get it on target. And then having that chance earlier on in the game where I think it was Daniel Amati that he let catch up with him, I'm thinking, you've got the edge on him. All you've got to do...
one with the goalkeeper. He's a £100 million striker. He didn't even get a shot off.
Exactly. All you have to do is literally, I know it's on your right foot, your weak foot, but you've got to just take a shot, get it on target. But he let the defender come back in and get the block in. I'm thinking,
he spent £100 million on one foot, bro. On one foot.
How much more time does he need? I don't understand that. I'm losing the will to live watching him play football. Honestly, it's painful at this point.
Same, bro. Absolutely same. To be honest, I'm surprised you're going as high as you are with the 4.5 boys. But each to their own, I suppose. Con, do you think they're going too high, or do you agree?
I'd give him.
Do you think they're going too low potentially?
I'd give him a 4. Pulisic a 3, him a 4. I think he set out the chance for Pulisic.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so he gets higher for that. But this guy's just not good for us, man. Tuchel last season, our kind of identity was attacking wing backs, a counter pressing team, right? And ever since he's come, we've lost the fluidity in attack. We don't ever counter press. We rarely ever do. And when we do press, it's pathetic, because we're a man down. And one point really annoyed me today. I said all about players jogging back when Leicester had the ball. I just saw Lukaku walking. It really annoyed me, man. It really got under my skin seeing that. I'm sick of him, bro. We had Werner last year. We have Lukaku this year. I'm done, man. Why are we cursed? Why can't we just have one season of nice...
Morata, Torres, Shevchenko.
Do you know what I mean, bro? Give us a break. We've suffered enough, man. I'm tired, bro. I'm tired. Yeah, it's a 4 for me, bro.
Oh. These stats, I would agree on the 4. So I'll see in a second what the chat has gone with. But let's just see some of these stats. Oh my god. Obviously, no goals, no assists. We know that. They're not assists, not his fault. Accurate passes, 12 out of 15, not awful. Chances created 2. Can't remember the other one that he created, but fair enough. But then shot accuracy, 0 out of 1 on target. Accurate crosses, 0 out of 1. Accurate long balls, 0 out of 1. Offsides, 1. Tackles, 1, 0. Ground duels, 1, 0. Aerial duels, 1, 0. My God, he didn't even get a single foul. He just committed one and got himself booked. My days. Well, how's the poll looking? Everyone get involved in the poll for Lukaku's rating. It is a split between a 4 and a 4.5, but I have already given you the vote. So far, it's a very even between 3.5, 4, 4.5, and 5, sitting on 28, 26, 22, 25. So get involved. Let's get to at least 100, people voting before I give that a sort of a representative weight, I suppose. So get involved with that. And in that time, we go to the subs just quickly because, well, they came too late again. And they were also very strange. I mean, Ruben Loftus-Cheek came on for Ngolo Kante, but Aspi came on for Pulisic, essentially. I mean, you could also say Ruben came on for Pulisic if you want, but yeah, so then it moved around and it was kind of this with Aspi as the wing back and then a front two of Lukaku and Ziyech. Kind of that's what I saw for the most part, but obviously Ziyech often dropped wide and then actually was Reece here. But yeah, kind of that. Hey, I said at least, why didn't we at least try something? At least we tried something, so that's some sort of positive thing to mention, even if it was way too late. Subs way too late. Neither of them were good. There was one where Ruben he had the ball, and all of a sudden it just bounced away. I have no idea what he was doing. I don't know. Give Ruben a 5. Didn't do anything useful, if I'm honest. And Aspi mugged one defender off once, so brilliant for that. But I'm going to give him a 5 as well. I don't really care. Did we make it a third sub even, or did we leave it at 2? I can't even remember.
Havertz came on.
Havertz.
Oh yeah, Havertz came on for Lukaku, of course, and had a chance. To be fair, I don't know. Give him a 5 as well. It should get an A really, Havertz, but I don't think any of them deserve any higher. Aaron, why don't you just do all 3 subs in a row? Wait, what ratings would you give to a lot of them?
I would have given them all an A. They all did nothing when they came on the pitch, apart from Havertz missing that one chance, but they did nothing. Azpilicueta mugged off one defender. Yeah, he got into a good position, but not enough to warrant a rating, in my opinion.
That's also fair, I suppose. That's also fair. Con, would you give them a rating, and if so, which one?
I won't give them a rating personally, to be honest, bro.
Okay.
I can't really think of anything they've done. So, besides Havertz just completely missing the ball and looking like a right knob.
Yeah. Falling over, looking like Mason Mount, but hey, is what it is. Maybe if Mason Mount played, Havertz would have played better. Who knows? Clutch, an NA for you as well, or would you have wanted to give them a rating?
I didn't notice him that much, so let's give him the NA. I'm fine with that.
There you go. Let that vote just update for me here. Quickly, again, guys, get involved in Lukaku rating poll. I'd be really intrigued what everybody thinks. At the top of the chat, get involved. So far, 3.5 is winning with the 31%. So far, certainly the lower one. I think I might just close it because we'll go on to the last 2 subs, last 2 ratings now. A shorter one, seemingly so far. Well, maybe we'll go on another little rant at the very end. Not sure where I'll place them. I guess I'll go with Jorginho here on performance. And I'll start with Clutch. What would you give that performance out of 10?
4, I think.
Any
I mean, it was
elaboration?
just. I'm trying to think of how I want to say this. It's a typical Chelsea performance. When they went into a low block, we had no answers for it whatsoever. We couldn't dribble past anybody, and the times we didn't do anything with it. We turned into the crossing team. We got 1 goal off of pretty much a midfield long ball, and then we decided, hey, that's how we're going to beat them this entire time. And it's just, we don't have the ability to change what we do. When things go bad, we just revert to that same old mentality of cross and hope. And it didn't work out. And like 2 or 3 players decided they wanted to play today. Everybody else decided they didn't. So, I mean, I talked about it yesterday, the mentality. Like, you're trying to finish this season off strong. You're not trying to go out there and get a draw against Leicester and hey, you made top 3. Good. Like, no, you want to go and win at least these last 2 games. Now I'm questioning whether they're going to go into Watford and actually try. Maybe these guys just need to go to the offseason.
That's what I'm saying. We need to play youngsters. At least they try.
I agree.
But fair. The 4 fair, I think. I'll keep mine for a second. 4 from Clutch for the overall performance. What would you give it? I mean, it's weird because it was kind of one mistake and then obviously a couple of bad misses that led to this result. But as if this was a one-off game and say out of the other 17 home or out of the other 16 home games, we would have won, say, 13 of them. Probably wouldn't make that big of a deal out of what happened today. But because literally the game of today happened so many times this season when we concede a silly goal, whether it was before we scored or after we scored, we get one back or we score one before, and then we just can't do anything else, whether it's them missing chances or not creating enough. It's just the same thing over and over again. It doesn't matter whether we're playing really good oppositions or really bad oppositions or average oppositions. It's just always the same. And yeah, we just allow the opposition to sit deep, but we allow the opposition to sit deep and make it so difficult to penetrate them because we play so slowly. And we just do. There's no movement. Yeah, sure, the movement part becomes more difficult the deeper the opposition sits. But like I said in the beginning, they don't sit that deep before you give them a goal. Some do, but they don't all do that. And Leicester wouldn't have done that until we gifted them the goal. So that's why I might even be tempted to agree with the 4. But what about you? Would you agree with the 4, or do you think it was something different?
Well, if you just talk about strictly performance, we created 19 chances to their 2. We dominated the ball. Pass actually was good. So from that standpoint, it looks like the performance was all right, but then you do have to factor in the missed chances, the stupid mistake for the first goal. Individuals, man, the performance as a whole, it wasn't the worst we've seen this season, I don't think. It's just individual moments that cost us once again, and I'm sick of seeing it. Seems like we say the same things every week when we don't get a positive result with Chelsea Football Club, man. You could honestly get one of your old live streams, Laurenz, play it today, and people won't really notice the difference, to be honest. I'm going to give it a 5, bro. I think I'm being generous, but I'm going to give it a 5.
Fair enough. So I was just dying here coughing, so that's why you didn't see me for a minute. But fair enough, a 4 and a 5 so far then. Aaron, is it either of those 2 you agree with? Do you potentially even sit in that middle ground of what we have on screen right now? What do you think?
No, I would have gone for like a 3. I think that was quite simply put, it was shit. There's no other way to sugarcoat it. That was just shit, honestly. That's like, I was just watching it and I just sat there and I thought, is this really what we've come to? Like, is this like what we're doing? Because we are so much better than this, and we come out here with this sack of shit performance, and I was just like, no, like that was horrendous. That's a 3.
Okay. Now, I personally, like I said, probably would go for the 4 because when I see what you're saying, Aaron, I don't know.
I just think when you watch it, you have to think about
what is it when we lose 4-0? Like there's if we go for a 3 for a draw, I'm not sure. Like, do you know what I mean? There is not enough leeway for when it's really bad as well. If that makes sense.
I think when you watch the game as well, and it looks like the players don't care, and there's only very few of them actually trying to do anything and putting in that effort and showing a bit of desire to want to actually go and win the game. That's kind of what you have to factor in as well. That's why I went for a 3, because most of them just looked like it was just they literally look like, oh, we've got nothing to play for. It doesn't matter sort of thing. But as fans, it doesn't matter whether you have nothing to play for. We still want you to go out there and do your best and win. But they didn't seem to come with that mentality. It was only Reece James, Trevor, Chalobah, and Hakim Ziyech that came with that. The rest of them were just coasting.
I don't disagree, mate. I don't disagree. You know what? I'll actually stick with you for Thomas Tuchel's rating. Now, where would you go with that, and how would you explain that?
I think this is probably the most difficult one of the whole thing, because when we think about the lineup and what we wanted compared to what we got, weren't happy with it. When you look at the substitutes, they came very late on in the game, and you're thinking, we've been at 1-1 for a fair while. You could have made changes a lot earlier, tried to bring some sort of fresh legs into the game.
1-1 even before half time, man.
Exactly. So we had plenty of time to bring subs on earlier to try and have an actual impact on the game. But when you're bringing them on with about 15 minutes to go, you're not really giving them much time to get into the game and try and make something happen. But same way with that, you can't put as much of it on him because there was some finishing that was just inexcusable from like Pulisic and Lukaku. So I think with that, I'll just stick with a 5 just because the lineup wasn't what we wanted. We wanted a bit of injection of youth in there just to see something a bit different. But same way, when we went out on the pitch, some of the things that the players did, it was just, yeah, you can't really stick that one on him too much.
There you go. Fair enough. Con, 5 from Aaron for Tuchel. Do you think that's fair? Do you think it's... I mean, I doubt you'd go particularly lower, but how much higher would you maybe go? Or, like I say...
I'm giving Tuchel an 8 today. I'm taking 2 points off for the subs, but he coached a win. It's 19 to 2 shots. Dominated the game. I would never blame a manager for individual errors, man. And people could say, oh, but you can start Kai Havertz to Lukaku. Like, Kai Havertz is mad clinical anyway. He does more than Lukaku in general play, 100%. And do we play better with...
Kai weren't even like 100% fit. Like, he missed...
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. We didn't really have much to do. And then he did try to make a change as well, to be fair to him. I thought Loftus-Cheek for Kante, that's what I would have done as well. Yeah. So there's not much else he could have done. Yeah, the Asby Pulisic one really confused me, but then we changed system and then I was trying to figure out what the hell we was doing. But like that's why I'm taking 2 points off because I don't think like that sub, the Asby and the Pulisic one was that great.
So does your rating almost start at a 10 and then you take 2 off? Because I agree with you taking 2 off. I just wouldn't start at a 10.
No, because in my eyes, he coached a win today, bro. Like that's how I say it. Because we were so.
Like I get the sentiment. I don't disagree. I'm just with the start with the 10 confused me a bit. But hey, you do you, bro.
Well, like when we have like nearly 19 shots and they have 2 and only 1 on target, like that's good. The manager's done his job there. It's up to the players to not concede from the 2 chances and the 1 on target, and to actually put away more than 1 of the 19 shots. That's on the players, not the manager. He coached. He did what he needed to do today. Players then done again, man. Is what it is.
Fair. I don't fully agree, but fair. Leaves us for the time being at a 6.5. Clutch. A 5 from Aaron, an 8 from Con. Where do you sit on that rating for Thomas Tuchel?
I would go with the 7. I agree with most of his lineup. I do think Mason Mount should have played. I mean, if Mason Mount is our quote-unquote best player in the attack, even after that penalty miss, he needed to have the game, and for him to not come on, that worries me for what's going to happen to how he feels mentally. He needed that. I do think he offers a little bit more in terms of pressing. That front line was not very balanced. We were pressing better today, but I still think you need that Mason Mount in the front. But other than that, not really too much to say. I mean, his Ngolo Kante comments really annoyed me, but I can't blame that. I can't say that for the game. So I'd probably give him a 7. Like Con said, it's more on the players. I don't think he had the wrong plan today, I guess.
It's a tough one. Now, even had we won that game 2-1, I don't think I would have even given him a 7 then, if I'm honest. Just because I'm like, and I know this isn't just today, but so many things that happen. So he goes out of his way to call out Christensen in November to get him to sign a contract. He doesn't. In the end, it all flops. Then he lets, whatever the reasons are, but has to let us down on cup final day. Rudiger, we all know, is out of contract for months. But still, until 2 weeks ago, Chalobah still doesn't get minutes. So the only under 37-year-old centre-back that we know will be at the club next year, aside from Malang Sarr, has got minutes. And now that top 4 is done, there's no cup final left. Rudiger still plays. I don't get that. Like, loyalty is all well and good, but I don't get that. He's the one that's like, I promise I'm going to be here. Then make sure next year gets better and try to build on, like, do something next year. Don't focus on players that we know are not going to be here. Like, I know we're content and we had this many chances and this many shots, and I get that. But did the intensity look like it was good enough? No, and that's the team that Tuchel picked. And I ain't happy with that. I'm not happy with the team he picked. I'm not happy with the bench he picked.
I'm sorry, Lawrence, but you
The one
sound
thing I
so
was most
spoiled.
happy
Right
with is him changing.
Spoiled.
I know the subs were late, but I was really happy when he finally changed system a bit. I was like, finally doing something. Good. Sorry, Con, what were you saying? Good.
You sound so spoiled right now, bro. No offense, man. But like, this is our 62nd game of the season. That never gets spoken about enough, but it's our 62nd. Half the players here are leaving. Like, if we played the youth today and we lost, people wouldn't be saying, the youth player played the right. They'll be slating Tuchel for that. He wanted to make sure of the third place. Carl, we got that. We dominated the possession.
The youth players played and we lost, sure, but you don't know whether that would have happened. What
Bro,
we do know
like,
is that we played
the youth players who have played this season haven't looked that great anyway. Bro, no, like, what more do you want?
The best team and we still didn't win.
Yeah, but what more do you want him to do in this game? We created a lot more chances than Leicester. We gave him barely a sniff. Individual errors cost us this game.
But
what
why
more
is
do you want
us
a manager to do?
creating chances on Tuchel and not also the other players, though? Like, they also created the chances.
Because it's his system, isn't it? The chances get created because of his system, no?
Obviously, but still,
and they have to convert it. They have to convert it, innit? It's up to them.
Yeah, but it's also up to them to create them, right? Because otherwise we would have never had games without chances.
So. Yeah, of course. But, you know, we still create enough chances. The manager did his job today. Like, I feel fans are a bit too entitled. Like, at times, you're not going to have the best of performances, but like today, the manager did his job well. And we should have won. It might not have been the best looking of games, but if you put it into context that we're near the end of a really draining season for this squad, who's been injury recalled, like people leaving at the end of the season, COVID cases, the sanctions, everybody's mentally drained. Like, I think right now, like for the second to last game of the season, he did more than enough to Tuchel today. And I think the players let him down again, bro. Like, how do you excuse Pulisic missing that chance, man? That's probably like a 0.8 XG chance right there.
I don't excuse it whatsoever. But exactly what you just said is why I'm so unhappy with the team. Because when everyone said we're struggling so much, then how do you get that better? You throw in some players that care. And when we last played Lewis Hall and Harvey Vale, they were phenomenal.
That's a reach. They weren't phenomenal. That was okay.
Lewis Hall in his last game was man.
Lewis Hall was decent, to be fair. Harvey Vale was okay. I remember that when people say like he was like this ridiculous performance. He did okay.
Okay, fair enough. But Lewis Hall, who I personally would have probably wanted to play in centre Rudiger because we have no other centre backs other than Malangzar. And I know Lewis Hall isn't even centre back himself either. But in that one game he played, he was left centre back in the three.
And even then, I don't think he'd care if he's not a centre back. If he's getting in the first team, he'll just do a job wherever he's put.
Exactly, and you just need, like, I don't know, give it some, like, you know how Chilwell coming back to training was a positive lift for everyone. I think playing some youngsters, giving some youngsters their Premier League debuts, that can be a lift for everyone. You don't
but if you're too cool, bro,
who we know wants to go to Barcelona, a Rudiger who we know is going to Real Madrid, Jorginho whose agent has nothing better to do than for every day, every waking minute talking about a move to Italy. Bringing Aspion in the last minute when Tuchel told us yesterday he thinks his time at Chelsea's done. Well, if he thinks that, maybe he shouldn't come on. Like, I just don't agree with those decisions. I just really, really don't. And while Con, you're not wrong in terms of what he coached is all well and good, but we're also a much better team. Even like we are a much like you know how people always say, any of us could be bio managers and win the league. That's because they have much better players. We have much better players than Leicester. So I don't think it's just like we were a better team against Leicester. That's why the manager did well. Because we have much better players than Leicester. So even if the manager does a bad job, we should be better than Leicester, if that makes sense. So I don't know.
But if you played them youth players you said like to play, then we're not better than Leicester.
Yeah, maybe not. But they would at least try.
But the thing is, trying's nice, bro. I guarantee the Norwich players tried this season, you know. I guaranteed, you know, who else is getting relegated? The Leeds and Watford players tried this side. Yeah, they probably tried really hard, bro. But, you know, trying doesn't mean you have that quality. Like, against Leicester today, who are respectable, they scored like 8 goals in the last 2 games. Wouldn't you rather just get that third place cemented today? And then Watford, who are already relegated, nothing to play for, that's when you give the youngsters their debut, not today. Because let's say they played today and we lost.
I hear what you're saying, but think about the last few weeks, bro, and all of these players that constantly let us down. You can't say that they're any more reliable than the youngsters would be. Like when the youngsters played, we beat another Premier League team. It's not like we lost then. The one game we actually gave a few of them a chance, not just 1 or 2. We won that game too. Like, it's not like we have a bad record. Like, fair enough. Do you know what I mean? If we played them in one game and we lost that, say that Brentford game just before Christmas and that cup game when they all played, had we lost that, I'm like, fair enough. You can't risk it again because last time we did it, it really didn't work out. But it worked. But we won. And that's not like, yeah, third is all well and good, but I can't disagree with that. I don't like how he at the sideline looks done as well, and I understand him looking done, but then don't have a go at your players for looking done, and he does. And then he comes out with the Kante statements. Con went 8, Clutch went 7, Aaron went 5. I'll give you the 5, but leave it at 6.5. But I'm even not even happy with 5, if I'm honest. And I know this is not a completely objective rating when I say I don't even want to give him a 5. And it's just been annoyances that keep building up with me a little bit. Where I'm like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And you keep doing it and you keep defending it. And you say you're proud you lost an FA Cup final. I'm like, no, we're not proud to lose anything. Proud. And I know, and these rivals just get away and rile me up, and that's why I'm harsh. But
bro, he should be proud because Liverpool are a better team than us, and they deserve to win that game. They missed chances. Like, what do you have to say? Like, I'm upset we didn't win.
Celebrated our Champions League in 2012. We were the worst team then. Did we win? Yes. We are Chelsea Football Club. When we get to finals, we aim to win, and I'm not happy if we don't win.
Of course, bro. But sometimes you just got to realise that when it comes to penalties, it is what it is, man. It's heartbreaking to lose a penalty twice. But
I'm no problem with saying like we're okay with how the penalties went, right? Everyone misses. That happens. But anyone that tries to tell me that our 120 minutes before that were anywhere near good enough, in my opinion, needs to set their standards straight. Because that was nowhere near good enough.
But that's the thing. With the squad we have, it was probably good enough.
But we've played Liverpool 4 times, and that was by far our worst performance against Liverpool.
But like, look at the form we've been in before that cup final compared to the last time.
That's fair. But I'm like I say, I'm not saying we have to be super sad and angry at everyone. I'm just saying we can't sit there and say we're proud. There's no need to say we're proud. I'm not saying you don't have to sit there and slate everyone and hate everything. Fair enough. I'm not saying it was that bad. But don't come out and give me all this, I'm proud and this and that. I don't know. Like all of us, I'm just done with the season. But I just think, again, I read it out earlier. We are 19 points behind City. Tuchel, that was a full season. We're 19 points behind City. And I know he had reasons, COVID, injuries and everything. But he still finished the same amount of points of City as we did last season, in which we sacked the manager in January, which we all said was a really poor season in the league. And now we're the same amount of points away. So we can't sit there and say
context matters, bro.
Any good.
Context matters, bro. Context matters.
Context does matter, but if you compare it to last season, there was context. There was context in that we had Frank Lampard, who's nowhere near as good. And in the end, we still only finished the same amount of distance from City as we did this season. And that's only if we beat Watford. Otherwise, it might be a bigger gap. Yeah,
but bro, like, we literally got sanctioned. That happens, like, how... I've never seen a football club sanctioned in the Premier League before. How often is that going to happen? And how often is playing with 7 COVID cases? How often is that going to happen? How often are you going to play the most games in Europe in the top 5 leagues? How often is that going to happen?
Yeah, but let's not say, like, we played 2 more games than Liverpool. So, like, it's not like it's loads. It's 2 more.
Yeah, no, of course. But then Liverpool are a much better side, bro. We have to, like, I hate saying that, but
they don't have a much better squad depth than us. They just have better mentality, and they don't have games where they can't be bothered. And that, in a way, also comes back from the manager.
No. Let's not do that.
Klopp is the reason why they do that. I'm not saying Tuchel is the reason why we don't, because Klopp's had the time to install it. But still, it's because of Klopp that they can play this stupidly intense football every game. No one else could do it. City obviously close, but City play different where they require a little bit less intensity. We can't even do 2 games in a row where we turn up.
And wouldn't you put that down to Liverpool's Aspergate scandal? where like 66% of their squad have asthma and they're taking all these performance-enhancing drugs and all that.
So that is a topic I've read a little bit about, but more headlines, because Liverpool annoy me anyway, right? So if I read things like that, I just get even more triggered. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, even with the dodgy name, the 5 subs thing. No, it wouldn't. Because we always claim how bad our squad is anyway. So, no. If I look at the FA Cup final on Saturday, every single sub made us worse. Maybe we should play with 0 subs. Maybe we'd be better then. Because we don't have the squad. So, surely with 5 subs, if City and Liverpool then also had 5 subs, we'd be even further away from them. If we do you know what I mean?
But even if we had 5 subs today and we made the 3 that we made, we would have been left with Saul, Barkley, and Kennedy. So, is it even worth having the 5 sub at that point?
No, that's exactly the problem.
That was the point.
My God.
You're like asking me to pick between piss and shit. It's still, they're not any better than the other.
No, they're really not. But honestly, like when you look at that team, and Tuchel said even yesterday, I mean, Thiago Silva's getting older. Thiago Silva should not be having to play anywhere near as many games as he has done this season. And even though he's done really well in the grand scheme of things, he still shouldn't. So, like, my God, I'm just so at the end with all of these players. One more game, let's get it done. Todd Boehly is the one who I feel the worst for. The guy, I mean, not all of his own money, of course, but still spending £4.25 billion on this. And every time he's not seen Chelsea win, every time Todd Boehly has been present at a football game, Chelsea have not won.
Maybe he needs
I
to just
don't
not
think
come
he was
anymore.
there when we played Leeds. Well, no, he definitely was because he was at the away game. Todd Boehly has not seen this football team win a game, and that's shocking. I mean, hey, maybe we're doing it all on purpose just to make sure we get some good summer investments. But my God, I think we're going to leave it there, guys. It's a tough one. It's a long one. They just keep getting tougher and they keep getting longer. But hey, big shout out to my 3 wonderful, wonderful guests. Please do follow Con on Twitter, follow Clutch on Twitter, and also follow Aaron on Twitter, I guess, but he can tell me after which specific links he prefers in the description. Otherwise, we might change it up next time. But yeah, please check them out. Subscribe if you haven't already, ladies and gentlemen. We still have nearly 200 people here, which I appreciate massively considering we've just been waffling for the last 10 minutes, if I'm honest. But yeah, get subscribed on the road to 15,000 subscribers. Smash the like button for me as well. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, upwards and onwards, and I'll see you next time.
Chasing us.